Hey guys, Stealther. Today I'm looking at the Dragoon 390. This is the Tier 3 Tank Destroyer class vehicle that you will unlock. Now, I'm not sure Tank Destroyer is the appropriate term for it, but they call it Wheeled Destroyers, which means that you're going to get fast vehicles with a hefty punch, which can deliver a lot of damage very quickly and then get the hell out. That's exactly what the Dragoon does. Now, with all that speed, you're going to sacrifice your armor. This thing has absolutely nothing. Anything that shoots at this thing is going to penetrate, because 10 millimeters of armor is not going to suffice for anything other than, say, small arms fire. And considering the smallest gun in the game is, I believe, a 30 millimeter autocannon, anything will go through. Now, that having said, you do get a decent amount of hit points at 950. But the main weapon that this unit has is, of course, the gun. You don't get this thing for the armor. If you want to get an armor, you get a tank. This one you get to do a lot of damage. And a lot of damage is something that this thing does very well, because it does 306 damage with my current heat round. It penetrates a decent amount of armor, which I can get a little bit more once I switch to AP. But especially the rate of fire is really, really good on this one, because you have a rate of fire of about 11 rounds. It depends, 11 or 10, depending a little bit on your crew skills and upgrades that you have installed. But my reload time is 5.88 seconds, and that means that every, say, 6 seconds, to round it up, I can do 300 damage. That means that to lighter vehicles in the game, say a tier 2 or a tier 3, I can kill that off in about 3 seconds. 18 seconds at maximum. If it's damaged, I'm much more likely to kill it off in 1 or 2 shots. Now, another thing that is really impressive about this unit is its speed. The Dragoon can go up to 117 kilometers. That is pretty much being a race car in most of the maps here. You get up to that speed, or at least part of that speed, very quickly, and of course, depending on the terrain, you can accelerate really quickly, or if you're stuck in the mud, it's going to take a bit longer. Now, the upgrades on this unit are quite extensive. You can see that the maximum unit, or the maximum tree of upgrades you can go for, is the firepower. And this is something that I would go for initially, because with all that firepower you're going to do more damage. The first thing you can unlock is a heat round, because you start out without, you get the heat rounds standard. Then you unlock HE, you unlock a better gun, you unlock a better heat round, you unlock an even better gun, which does a lot more penetration than the base one. The base one, for example, lacks 15 millimeters of penetration, as well as doing about 21 to 27 points less damage. You can then unlock APFSDS rounds, which penetrate for 224 millimeters. You can unlock HE, but I always fire heat unless I have no other alternative. And you can even unlock some HESH rounds, which will be really good at damaging modules and hurting the crew. As far as mobility upgrades, you got only one, which will improve your mobility on rough terrain. And then you have some technology upgrades, which is improved air conditioning, making your crew a bit better. You get a technology retrofit slot, and then of course you got the proven upgrades, which is 2 cash packages of 10,120 credits, as well as the enhanced drivetrain. Now, this is not something that the tank destroyer itself needs, but I have equipped this thing, for example, on my chieftain, because the chieftain has some really terrible turret traverse. Finally, up here we got one armor retrofit slot, and as far as armor retrofit slots go, I would use this thing to improve the hit points, because your armor itself is not something you're going to be improving, but what you can improve is the number of hit points that you have. As far as the crew goes, I have Philip in this one, which is actually not the correct commander, as I just realized, because with a tank destroyer you're usually a bit farther behind the action. You're not up front, so pack tactics isn't really suitable for this unit. So I'm going to switch that to Commander Sabrina Washington. And Sabrina has everything that you would expect from a tank destroyer, or that a tank destroyer would need. Increased vision range, improved aim speed, improved camo factor, improved base capture, although I really don't use that, and a less visibility penalty when I fire my gun. The more you can stay hidden with a Dragoon, the better you will be, because as mentioned, these things just don't pack any armor. Now, as far as ammo goes, I'm sporting a lot of heat rounds, because usually that will be enough. If I cannot go through with a heat round, I'm going to switch to an AP-FSDS round, and that will do a little bit less damage, 239 versus 292. So you're sacrificing about 50 points of damage, but you're gaining almost 30 or 35 millimeters of penetration, which can be worth it. Hash is something that I just don't use. I know it can be effective, but for me it just usually doesn't do enough damage when compared to heat. For the retrofits, I went with the experimental propellant, which gives you a lot more damage, or a lot more, 5%, and I went with augmented optics to give me a little bit more vision range. As mentioned, I can still unlock this retrofit slot, but I haven't gotten there yet. Now, consumables, I'm actually going to throw on the standard consumables for me for now, which is the spare parts, which gives me better repair speed, even if I don't use the kit, and if I don't use it, I don't have to pay that 17.5 grand every time. Medical kit increases crew hit points really, and automatic fire extinguisher makes it less chance to actually catch on fire, and if I do catch on fire, it's going to put it out immediately. I also pack a low tier field maintenance kit, which will give me a little bit of hit points as well as ammo if I take this thing into, say, a PvE match. Now, enough with the chatter, let's get into match. TDs, I have found, are not that numerous on the server, and this is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing for me because they are. It can get into a bit of a camping match if you get with too many TDs into a game. The bad side is that it means that there might be something wrong with this class, or it's situational. And both of those are not very attractive. But I have found that Dragoon actually performs really nicely. That is, if you play to its strengths. Hide, fire, relocate. Basically, that's the formula I'm going to use. Now with the Dragoon, the area on the left becomes an ideal hunting ground for me. The area on the right is more difficult to operate safely. And the area in the middle is doable, but not very safe. Because you can get shot at from the sides, and on the other hand, you can actually get shots in the sides of some targets. So maybe I'm going to try that in another gameplay, but not just yet. I'm going to use my speed to get up to this position real quickly. Try to find a good position to hide in. And from that position, I'm going to snipe targets as they come up. Now, keep in mind that this thing is a wheeled vehicle, and wheeled vehicles don't exactly turn on the spot like a tracked vehicle can. This is not something that is terrible or excellent, but it is something you have to keep in mind, because you may want to do a 360 spin or 180 spin quickly, and that's something you just cannot do with this vehicle. Now you can see that I'm really quickly moving up this terrain. And a good thing there's a BMP-1 behind me that I can use as a spotter. Another specialty item or a specialty trait of tank destroyers is the amount of camouflage they get. It's pretty high by default, and you maintain a lot of that camouflage as you fire, as well as when you're on the move. And of course, you really have to, because these things rely on stealth so much to stay alive. Now you may have noticed the box in the middle, this little reticule here. It's a bit different from normal, and that's because right now I have a sniper bonus, which makes me do more damage. And there you go, 328 damage. So long as that T-62 is in the open, I'm going to try and keep punishing the guy. But I'm also going to go for some lighter targets here, like the AMX-10 there. Which is, I suppose you could say, more of a threat to me than the T-62 is. Because a autocannon mounted on an AMX-10P is going to damage me a lot faster than a T-62 will. Now I fired a couple of rounds, but I already did 900 damage. And that's something that this unit is designed to do. Doing a lot of damage really quickly. Now that was a bit of a slip and slide, but I got detected and I immediately got the hell out of there. Because Tank destroyers, I'm not going to say they're hated, but they are pretty much ideal targets to fire at because they don't have any protection other than their camouflage factor. One thing that this thing lacks a little bit is gun depression. And you can see that I'm having difficulty here getting my guns on target. Another gut round into that Dragoon there. Let's see if I can finish it off. There's a T-62, give him a bit of lead. Good hit. Sniper bonus. I have been detected, so I don't need to stick around here for too long. Now, one of you guys would come up, that would be great. The problem is, I'm now pretty much a frontline unit. We got a BMP here, we got no tanks. And that means that if they go through, I'm going to be a very, very easy target. So quickly, and I might say extremely quickly relocating here. And going to a position where I can actually use my sniper bonus again. Unfortunately, that does seem to mean that I have to abandon my teammates a little bit. Whoops. Let's see if we can finish off one of these guys, because they're all on low health. They're all one-shots for me with this excellent 90mm gun. I'm pretty stealthy. I want to fire off a shot as they come over the ridge and then back up. Nothing there, or at least nothing there that I can fire at. And I'm thinking that these guys which are over there are currently debating who is going to go first. Because they're all on low hit points, and I think none of them really wants to advance. MX-10P coming down there, he's probably going to go down that route. Or he's going to move up this hill and try to spot me from there. Which I would invite him to do. Let's see if I can get a shell onto that tank. Maximum range. Nope, didn't get it. Didn't get spotted either. Switching target. Sniper bonus 399. Really high damage roll there. Been spotted. Time to get out. And you can see that this thing, if it reverses, it almost starts to dance around on its rear wheels. That's something that can be a bit unexpected and can create some comical and unexpected effects. No effect, no pen there. Scorpions, by the way, are your mortal enemy. Those heat rounds that they fire, or HE rounds really, they do a ton of damage. And that's not something that this thing takes very well. Now that tank is in cover. He's gonna come out of cover again. Let's get a round in there. 360. There's a Dragoon, which I think is down there. He's gonna come up. Or not. Somebody's really happy with their autocannon back there. Well, there's just 2 targets, so I'm going to be a bit more aggressive now. You can see that I can just relocate so quickly in this thing. I took on water for about a second there, if that much. I'm not sure if all the tank destroyers in this tech tree are this fast, but this one is definitely a blast to play with. It is so incredibly fast that you can also be a sort of first responder if you find that your team is lacking on one flank. I got a round into that guy while moving at 80 kph, and this might get painful. Yep, they hit us hard. Didn't pen him. This is getting a bit terrible. Yep, we got him. Although that last bit, I was being a bit too aggressive. I should have stayed at range. Okay, gonna pause it for a bit and wait for the screen to come up with the results. Alright, result screen is up. I got 2600 XP for that, which is also because it was my first win of the day in the Dragoon 390. 67,000 credits, and let's see, I scored 3rd in the team and 1st on damage done. Now, you may say that this vehicle is a camper, you would be exactly right. This thing is not designed to go on the offensive on its own. It is purely, I suppose you could call it a fire support vehicle, in the sense that it delivers a massive blow every couple seconds from a good range behind the battlefield. It's not something you take to the front lines and hope to survive. Because as you saw, even though I was I was engaging the last surviving tank, I took quite a bit of damage, mainly due to taking fire from the T-62, but also getting rammed by him. So the armor on this thing is just not going to protect it from the likes of that. Okay, let's do another one. I'm not going to bother with that equipment slot, the armor slot, because I don't have to go that far to get the LAV 300. I still need to get about 3000 XP, and I'm not going to dish out another 40 or 50,000 to spend on equipment. Let's see what the next match is going to be. Roughneck. This is a pretty good map for a tank destroyer, and by the looks of it I am next to that LAV 150-90, which is a premium. I'm the only tank destroyer on this map. The rest of them are tanks, and that is a really fortunate matchup for me, because this map can get a bit campy, but those tank destroyers, or those tanks, and there's a lot of them, they can just not afford to camp. Because if they camp and they're going to get spotted by either me or the BMPs, the XMs, or the Scorpions, they're going to take fire. And they're going to take a lot of fire, preferably from me. Now let's see, they have one spotter, they got a couple of Scorpions, and that one tank destroyer, and the rest is heavies. So this should be a pretty good match for me if I don't blow it. We got one Scorpion going to the north. And our XM seems to, yeah, it changed course, it's going north. That's good. Don't want to go too fast here, because with this speed and unexpected drops in the terrain, you can actually do quite a bit of damage to yourself. And trust me, it is something that I have done. It's a bit embarrassing if you do it, because sometimes you're just gonna go way too fast, drop off a cliff, and damage yourself for anywhere between 150 and 300. Or even blow yourself up if you drop too far, so be careful as you go. Now this XM800T from their team is being extremely aggressive, which I believe is the right play for a scout, but if I don't help out my own, he is going to be dominating the spotting game here. And that XM800 seems to be smart about this. There's a Scorpion there. Yeah, we lost them. Now again, I'm getting too close. I'm even ahead of the tanks here. So I need to pull back and find a better firing position. Because especially those Scorpions, as mentioned, they're going to do a ton of damage with their HE. And they usually will prioritize you over anything else. T-62 in the open there. Right behind the train. Didn't get it. Haven't been spotted yet, I'm going to keep it that way. Track damage. Tracks ate the heat round. Actually, we got a lot of interesting targets up here. There you go. 377. 471. Massive damage to the Scorpion there. Unfortunately didn't finish him off. But I have been spotted, and that was incoming from the T-62, the LAV, another T-62. I just took 700 damage in the span of about 2 seconds. So be really careful once you have been spotted, because this thing just does not like to take fire. Now you saw that I spotted that thing, or at least I got a sight on it, fired at it, and I did not get spotted. That's something that this thing does exceptionally well, firing from stealth. It is a really, really good sniper. And we have already lost 3 tanks, possibly some due to the middle, but we also lost our spotter up here in the north. And these things are pretty much one-shots. I need that T-62 to come out of cover for a little bit. because I'm not going to go through his turret, not like that. I may be able to get the other T-62 and help out the refinery in the middle a little bit. So time to move. Maybe able to hear that the unit's taking a bit of damage. Slipping on the snow there. Finally a first kill for our team.
Identify target.
There is another T-62 there. Those things are just everywhere. I have an okay position here because I'm not being flanked just yet. But I have to start outputting a lot more damage in order to salvage this game. This guy is hiding behind the train, making it impossible for me to get shots. And I have to consider that I am a one-shot. So they just have to look at me and pull the trigger, and that's the end of me. Just got spotted by that Scorpion. I don't think that this one's going to end well. We're down 6 tanks. Gotta kill off that Scorpion before he does any more damage. Okay, someone got him. There's a T-62 again, out in the open. Put a round into him. 1500 damage done. Got spotted. Getting spotted is not good in this thing. I usually go about it this way. If I'm getting spotted, I'm doing something wrong. Because I don't want to be spotted. I want to be doing the damage. And this is... yeah, I knew it. That was going to kill me. I had to kill that tank. If I didn't, I was going to get killed. And someone else did manage to get him, but we're still down 6 tanks. And whatever we have left is heavily damaged. So this thing is going to go down in flames. I'm going to pause it here, wait for the results screen, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright, although the team didn't exactly do as well as I would hoped it would, I still managed to become 5th in the ranking, and I did the 2nd most damage. And you can see that again, the Dragoon does a lot of that damage in a really short period of time, if you have enough targets to shoot at. Other than that, I got about 650 XP, 33,000 credits, and of course there's a bit of repair costs, which makes me a 28,000 net profit. Okay, I'm gonna pause it again and get you another gameplay. Alright, we're back on pipelines. This is a very nice map for a tank destroyer such as this one. It has a lot of cover, but not that many bushes, which means that I have a decent amount of terrain that I can hide behind, but the enemy don't really have that many bushes to hide behind. You have to be a bit careful with that. As far as the matchmaking in vehicles goes, we have enough spotters. Though we're a bit light on spotters. We don't have any light tanks, which could be an issue later on. And most of my team, save for 5 tanks, or save for 5 units, is tanks. So we're gonna do probably exceptionally well at the refinery at the other side of the map. But until we get there, we're pretty much at the mercy of the tank destroyers and the other team. So it's going to be my job to do a bit of counter-sniping. Trying to get a couple of shots in before I have to pull out. Pulling out is something that's pretty much the first thing on my mind as I look for a good position. See, if I'm on this hilltop or in this dune here, I can really quickly reverse and get out of there. Now there is a leopard that's going up right there. I might be able to spot that. Barely. Let's move up a little bit. Come on. You know you want to come over. Gotcha. And I got track damage. Not what I was hoping for. No, I critically tracked his... I critically damaged his track. And someone else finished him off. Whatever. It works for me. It's 1 tank down. And it's not the first one to go, apparently, because a lot more of them already died. There is a Jalo S back there. You can see that the gun is not the most accurate, because I was fully zoomed in, and the gun missed. I managed to hit something on the turret of the Jalo, but not where I wanted my round to go. I wanted that thing to penetrate like that and do 340 damage. There's a Scorpion hiding up there. 368. It's a bit of whack-a-mole almost, if you remember that game. Where a mole pops up, you have to whack it and then wait for the next one to come up. That's a bit how I would explain playing the Dragoon. Because you just wait for targets to pop up, you smack them, they pull back into cover. Rinse and repeat. And of course I'm also competing with the other Dragoons here. Let's finish off with that Scorpion there. Again, 1000 damage done in almost no time. There's the Jalo, who is popping out a bit too far for his own safety. It's really difficult to get a good shot on that guy right now. But I think he's virtually alone out there right now. You can see him skidding around here again. Let's move in a bit and try to get some help at the refinery. As long as I haven't been detected, I'm not worried. You can see the enemy team is just melting away. Skidding again. Time to cross this river. I'm no good on my side. Need to get closer and spot some stuff. Even in the water, this thing moves at about 40 kph, which is something that some tanks can only dream of. Now, some of you asked how do I get the outgoing damage and the incoming damage up there. You go to Settings, you go to UI, and there you can enable these things. They're hidden by default. It's not a mod I'm using, it's in the game already. Didn't go through the turret of a leopard, which was to be expected. He's going to pull back, and then I can pin his side if I hit. Didn't give enough lead there. There's another Dragoon up there. I have to go in and kill them if I want to get some damage done. Because these guys are again melting due to the massive pressure that my team's putting up. And I'm probably going to make a bit of a jump here. Yep. And that is part of the life of a Dragoon. It is really fast, can be over really quickly, and usually comes with a lot of bouncing up and down the terrain. And I didn't get hit there by that leopard, but I distracted him enough so that he had to come out of cover and my team could easily pick him off. I'm not sure that got me any spotting damage, but at least I managed to assist my team in killing off that leopard. And there's Dragoon. And looking to get the gun depression on him. There you go. There's a BMP. That thing could do a lot of damage with heat rounds. My turret's probably sticking out, but he has the same problem. He does not have any gun depression. And I got him. There you go. 1400 damage done. Took only 100 damage. So this is again quite a good display in the Dragoon. Let's wait for the results screen to come up. There you go, 1400 experience, 80,000 credits, and with the reinforcements or the reloading of the shells and the repairs, that gets me 77,000. Let's see how the team did. I didn't do as much damage as before, but I still made it second, probably because I got a bit of spotting done. I spotted 4 targets and that got them damage for 1350 points, which is pretty much 1.5 vehicle at this tier. So I managed to do a lot of assisting damage that way, and that gets you a lot of total experience. So with this I hope you got a bit of an understanding of the Dragoon 390. Maybe it's something for you, maybe you think it's too weak it's too campy and it is not your playstyle. In that case, pick something else, because Armored Warfare has enough to go with. I myself really like the playstyle of the Dragoon. I love the insane speed that this thing can go up to, and I don't believe that that's something that's going to last a long while. Because let's see, this one, the LEV 300 can make it up to 100 kph, but I think you're going to slow down a little bit there. You're going to go to 95 on the ERC 90. Centauro has a speed of 104. So actually, all of these things remain pretty fast, at or around 100 kph. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it got you a bit of information on whether this vehicle is for you and how to counter it, because killing this thing is of course really easy. Just use HE or heat. And if you liked it, please hit the like button. If you have any questions about it, let them or leave them in the comments, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.